All right, Coach. Well, we're 2-0.
Yeah.
Picked up a big win last week on the road, Westwood. Tell us about that game.
Yeah, just a great environment. It was on the road. We hit some traffic going into that game, and so it was kind of like a rush scenario. Get off the bus, get dressed, get through our warm-up as quick as we could, and jump right into it. But, we practice being uncomfortable. So the fact that we were able to come into that environment in an uncomfortable situation just, prove that, hey, what we practiced came into fruition, and just really working towards that team victory. Yeah.
So we get the ball first, don't really move it. Westwood gets the ball back. They score a touchdown right away. What's the mentality of the team at that point?
We were good. They scored. We knew what they scored on. It was just a minor error that we needed to adjust. We adjusted right to it, and once we did that, the kids really understood. There was no, oh man, there wasn't a lot of down composure or anything. It was like, all right, next play, let's get this thing going. Yeah.
So on the way to the game, I'm listening to ESPN's The Game of the Week, and they're interviewing you and the other coaches, and they're just talking about the game. And one of the things was the quality of the Westwood DBs, and they were very physical, talented players. But I think that Javian heard that, and I think he had a performance. 3 touchdowns. Talk about that Joe and Javian connection.
Yeah, Joe and Javian, they're red hot right now. And Westwood, hats off to them. They do have a very talented secondary, and they have some guys that are probably going to be playing on Saturdays there. And for Javian to do what he did with Joe, they were just in link. It just shows the big play capability that Javian has. It shows the mental fortitude and just the accuracy that Joe has to get him the ball. So for them to dial in, especially against a very athletic and talented team like Westwood, it just shows that these guys have big play capability, and that colleges need to get on them quick.
So we're talking about big playability with Javian. Our play of the week is one of his 3 touchdowns. He's a little slant, he catches, but then he just has the will to break tackles and takes it, I think it was 70 plus 80 yards to the house. Walk us through that play.
Yeah, we knew we had it there. We got the ball to him, and then once he got it, we're like, all right, we got it, got a good completion. Next thing we know, Jai just does what Jai does. He was just relentless effort to just get free, right? He was like, I'm not going down. Broke that first tackle, then he broke a couple more, and then he just turned on the speed, and you saw him break away. And I think that to me was that moment that Javian's needed. I've seen him really mature over the past couple weeks and months, and just to see him do that, I was really happy for it, just to see that, and then also just Joe getting him the ball and seeing, hey, we can do big things when we get it into his hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And these college coaches, you guys need to get on Javian. He was talented last year, he was productive last year, but the difference in his speed and his physicality this year, it is noticeable.
Yep.
And he's just taking the next step. So be looking at that Javian Jones film, coaches. Let's talk about the defense.
Yes.
Gave it 21 points, but ultimately there was a touchdown late. We're kind of banged up. I think the defense did a good job against a physical team. Who stepped up kind of with some of those holes to fill?
Yeah, up front we were a little banged up, but, Kolsky and Nakata had a really good game again. But just some unsung heroes. Nathan Heyman came in, Noah Bender, Ridge Martin. They did a really good job up front. Even young buck Braden Simpson came in, gave us some good needed production that we needed. James Powell had an amazing game. I think he finished the game with 8 tackles. He was flying all over the field, and actually on a busted play, if not for James Powell and his effort to come track it down, probably resulted in another score. Matt McPherson was all over the field. I think he had 10 tackles, 2 pass breakups. Levi Champion, I think, had 10 solo tackles in that game, 3 tackles for losses. Just anchored that defense down. And then going back to Javian, he has 4 solo tackles. He's got 2 pass breakups, and he comes away with an interception. So even though they got that late score late in the game, we were pretty comfortable knowing, hey, if we get back on offense, we're good. They followed the game plan to a T. That's an explosive team. We knew explosive plays were going to happen. It was just how can we limit that?
So with that win, that was like I said, that was the ESPN Game of the Week. We were ranked 10th in that poll. Now the polls come out this week, the local polls, and they've got us up as high as 4 and 5.
Yep.
What do you do with that as a coach, knowing that it's you want to celebrate where we're at, but you also don't want to pay too much attention to that?
Yeah, no, we look at it as, hey, that's an amazing accomplishment, and thank you to ESPN for providing the coverage, and they post those lists, and we love it for getting the media coverage and everything. And the list is fun to look at, right? You get a little comparison of where we stand in the county. But it really has no factor for us inside the locker room. Our goal is still win districts. It's 1 week at a time and make it to the second round of the playoffs. That's the mission. So we do like to take a peek at it. It gives us a little inspiration and a little notoriety of saying, hey, thank you guys. The hard work is not going unnoticed. But the mission is still the same. Week by week, take care of business, and we won't get caught up in that kind of stuff.
So you head into week 3, you got Gulliver prep. It's going to kind of be an unusual week. We're playing a 4 p.m. game down in Miami, which that has its own challenges, but also a solid Gulliver team. So tell us first a little bit about kind of the difference in preparation as we go into a game like that, and then tell us about Gulliver.
Yeah, just prepping up for this. I mean, it is a long car ride, early dismissal. Driving down south is always a challenge. Just getting again in that mindset, but again, we practice being uncomfortable and being in uncomfortable situations. So just kind of understanding, we've really put into scripture this week for the kids is we're going to read Daniel, and we're talking about how Daniel, no matter what, is faithful in his word. That we're getting ready to go in a furnace, right? And that furnace is Gulliver Stadium at 4 p.m. down in Miami, and we're going to stand firm in our beliefs and what we're doing, and we know God has us. He's right there with us. But Gulliver's a very well coached team. They have quite a few athletes. They have a really good history of football. Last year we got in a slugfest with them, coming out on that 34-28. So I know, they played two really good programs in their past games. So I know they're going to be hungry. Home game for them. But it'll be a little challenging. But again, it's Miami football, and we're excited. It's going to be a good little change of pace.
Absolutely. And Lions fans, you guys have been awesome so far. That Westwood game, you really traveled well. We'd love to have you come down in Miami. Like I said, it's a 4 o'clock game, so make plans for that, but we'd love to have you there.
No, definitely come on out. Gulliver does a good job with fan protection over the heat. They have an awning, and they got fans to cool you off, so make sure you guys get out there and support. I know it's an early game, but it means the world when you guys get out there.
All right, let's try to get to 3-0.
Awesome.